we're going to look at some individuals, guys, and this one here I think has been a big talking point is Tanner Boyd. How are we differentiating names now? Is it so? Is one Tanner and then the other one Styles Smith? What's your guys' point? Or is it Boyd and Styles Smith? Are we leaving the name Tanner out? What do you guys reckon?
Tenoir, baby. Tenoir.
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 Tenoir. Okay. Okay. So this is Tenoir. I think we're talking about Tenoir. Tenoir's performance. Yes, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. And look, come in with a bit of pressure off of Metcalf, obviously. And Metcalf, up to that, we've talked about it a lot, me and Ash, about just up to the point that he got injured, was on a tear in terms of his overall thing. Now Tanoa comes in with a different approach, a bit more organizing half, you can tell from the performance and kicking game. And it kind of steers the team again in a new kind of flow and direction. Ash, what did you make of his performance? And what is the impact of his performance moving forward on? Do you think he can maintain this and carry this through into potential finals run?
Yeah, I think the best thing that I've heard it thrown around the last couple of weeks from a couple of different podcasts as well that kind of adds on to my point here. He came in playing Tanner Boyd football and not playing Luke Metcalf football. And I think our system does such a good, it does such a good, does every halfback, well, every time they step into that jersey. No matter what halfback goes in there, the system kind of folds around them and makes them perform to the top of their level, right? I thought what Tanner brought to our side was structure, was consistency. It's all the stuff that a lot of people, somewhat complained about at times in Shawnee's game, especially later in and, getting us to points on the field. But I think the extra depth in his kick, the extra air he puts under that ball, he really gets through it, like he jumps through the ball. I really enjoyed just those little, he's an out and out halfback. And we all kind of, when we look at, Metcalf, he's kind of became this hybrid of, a halfback plus a running six. Like he was really combination. He had to do the playmaking when he did it. And him and Chanel kind of bounced off each other in that sort of aspect. But in this one, it was like Tanner's the out and out half. And Chanel was definitely a six. There was moments where I saw that, Chanel was switching over side of the ruck and putting Tanner out the back of shape, and that looked good as well, right? Like I thought that was really nice. But for a majority of the game, Tanner was getting really good early touches out the back of shape, early around the ruck, putting the boys into the right positions, and then those real big booming kicks to the corner when we had Rocco and all that chasing through, really pinning the Tigers back, behind that 30. There was a good period in that game where we just had consistent roll on, and the Tigers couldn't get out of their 30. When they had to force like Latu Fainu and, Jerome Luai to a longer kicking game, which they're not, both those two are not known for, that is the reason why we look so dominant, especially in yardage in this game overall. And it all came off the back of just the boot of Tanner Boyd. And we all knew that was his best asset in his game. I think the one that really surprised me, not so much surprised, but it was one area that I was looking at, was his defensive work in this game as well. I thought that, there was a moment, I think he missed an earlier tackle or whatever in this game that ended up causing for a try. But I think his effort and his placement, he wants to get himself in the action. He made a lot of big key tackles in this game as well, which I was very, very impressed with. And lastly, I still sit on the sentiment that I think Luke Metcalf's a better passer of the ball in moments as well. But Tanner's just got that real, he's got a real nice pass on him as well. It's not as, when I say these things, it's not like I'm saying that he's absolutely mud in this area. I'm just saying that he impressed me when jumping up to first grade, just showing he was putting the ball in the right places. He had early releases to Tane and allowed Tane to get through his work as well, which we really enjoyed out the back of shape. So overall, very, very good performance. For me, I want to see consistency out of this in first grade because, the Titans, not to say I don't remember him having a game like that sort of thing consistently at the Titans. I want to see that week in, week out. But what, caveats that point as well, what, people would obviously say to that point is he's been doing it in Cup week in, week out too. So why can't he do it in first grade week in, week out, doing what he's doing now? So I'm very, very excited for our run in for the rest of the year. And I think he's the perfect halfback to get us towards where we want to be by the end of the season for sure, even down on injuries and key men.
Josh, do you share similar sentiments? Were you impressed with his game and even like the different style of play. Yeah, what did you make of Tanner's performance for you, and how's it, what does it mean to you? Yeah,
Yeah, like Ash, I was really impressed. I thought that he slotted right into our team, into our system, and how we play. I thought we our attack had shades of 2023, which was again really really good because that was humming. I sent a voice message to Ash last night,
Yeah.
um, and I said he's like a bit of a slow SJ in terms of like the game manager SJ.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
he just holds the defense so well and just creates space on the outside just because like one the Tigers obviously didn't know his threat, but um, like he just holds and holds and holds, goes so deep, and then fires the ball out, and it just created so much space on the outside. I loved his kicking game as well. I thought he was just pinpoint with all of his kicks. Like
yeah,
this season, we've kind of shifted between like almost a 60-40 split with Metcalf and Chanel, but Tanner took probably 85% of those kicks
Yeah.
on the weekend, and they were great. They were fantastic, and it wasn't to the same place, to the same the same spot every time. He was mixing it up left and right, and it just like we were just trapping them in, like Ash was saying. Like there was no coming out of their 30-meter line. They just could not get out, and then we'd just force them into mistakes, and that was all off the back of his kicking game. And then when we're in there, when we're in the 20, he's holding it up perfectly. He's working with Chanel.
yeah,
Yeah, and that combination just clicked straight away, which is exactly what you want to see. And it's almost like, as sad as it is to have Luke out for the rest of the season, I also said this to Ash as well. Like, it's almost the perfect time.
Mm.
Like, if it was
great
going to
point.
happen,
Yeah,
like we want it. Well, like again, don't want it to happen, but if it was going to happen, you'd choose it to happen before the run home,
Yeah.
with enough time for him to gel and enough time for our team to, get used to having this game manager half in again, in the like extra game manager, and then work to that and work to those strengths, and as opposed to having him for too long, where teams really work out our attack and go, oh yeah, sweet, we can do this, but or having him for too short and going, we don't have the combos yet.
yeah.
And
I
again,
like the. Oh, sorry, Gersh. Yep.
I just want to caveat this whole thing with Tanner too is like, I want to add in, I was kind of like, this is where I got caught up in my words earlier, first talking about, Tanner. I think this is the biggest credit. Again, like, you guys know how much I love Andrew Webster at the moment and where he's like growing his game. But I think this is the biggest credit to Andrew Webster. Like,
Sure.
whatever halfback we've had in that jersey has played to their fullest potential. And I think the system just breeds, a halfback to play, be the center of attention. And because it's so systematic, you got to do all the simple things right. And that's what feeds like that. People like Tanner Boyd need like just to know, like, take the pressure off. Just all you got to do is get through your work and do what you need to do, right? Like, think of it. Sean Johnson had a Daily M year under Andrew Webster's tutelage, right? Should have had Daily M, right? Then the next year we had a down year with Shawnee there in moments, but when he got injured, Tamate Martin came in and he reinvigorated everything. It was like Tamate was playing the best I've ever seen Tamate Martin play,
Mhm.
especially in the halves as well. And this is going back to like when he was coming through with the Tigers, the Panthers, and all those earlier days. And then now, him being pulled out, Luke Metcalf at 6 going to 7 has had a Daily M year. Like he was having a Daily M season. Like people
Yep.
got to remember that
True.
too. Like when we talk about Tanner and everything he's doing now, we can talk about maybe they can be a halves pairing together later on in that. But at that point, he's our halfback and was our future halfback. He was having a Daily M year. Webby was, a big reason for that, and also the hard work that he was getting through. Now he's pulled out. Tanner's having the year that all the Titans fans have been hoping and praying that they would have for a halfback, right? But
You're
unfortunately,
right.
what it's come down to is such a great system. Like that's what it is. It's not. We're not looking at it playing an attacking brand of football. We're doing all the simple things right. We're building a base in our defense first of all, and then using the best part of Tanah Boyd's game, which is his kicking game, to keep us in the contest and make him look like just an incredible halfback. This is what the Titans never got in their game. They wanted him to be, let's say, another Luke Metcalf, or look at a Jaden Campbell right now. They want him to be a guy that just goes out there, throws the footy, flares to the wind. That's not Tanner's game. It never was. That's not Toby Sexton's game. Never was. That's not Jamal Fogarty's game. Never was. But, you know, when you put these guys into a good system, you can see how good a halfbacks they are. Like, and that's why systematic football is what it is. And like, it builds structures, consistency. And that's what we have in our football side right now.
Yeah. I just think when you guys are talking, I was thinking the system we play, it allows, I think it allows the system to win the game. What I mean by that is, there's no 5-man cutout passes required of you. There's nothing off the cuff that you need to do within the system. Webby's pretty much said, if you play within it, we'll death by 1,000 paper cuts. We will eventually get the look, you know, we'll eventually get what we want to get. And I think that's credit to someone, even credit more so to Metcalf, who you think is probably more of an off the cuff player, that he's even kind of bought into it and sees the value of it. But now with Tanah Boyd, it's almost like robotic, because it's so in his wheelhouse that you mentioned, Ash, that it's like this is maybe the perfect system for him to really shine in, you know, the way this team plays. So I just love one or 2 points I have from his game I really enjoy was the kick velocity on the kicks. You see how the ball drops down? It drops heavy. And I was like, yo, that's, you know, it's, you know, some guys kick it and the ball floats nicely down, but I feel like he gets a lot of velocity. He did the torpedo. He mixed it up. My favorite kick I said to you in the backstage was that kick where Staines tapped it out for a goal line dropout. It just sat perfectly in that space. I was like, that to me is the balance we need. But yeah, any more thoughts on Tanah Boyd?
Just incredible, bro. And like, again, like when we go down to it, I want to see like a good sample size and all that of him overall. But as I kind of bounce back on myself as well, we've seen this in Cup for all year. Like the system that we're playing in Cup is very, very similar, if not the same system we're playing in first grade. That's the reason why our overall system is working the way it is, where people are going into our system in first grade and playing the exact same type of football they're playing in Cup and playing just as well in areas as well. People don't understand there is a big jump from New South Wales Cup to first grade. There's a massive jump. There's a difference there. We've seen Ronald Volkman go to the Parramatta Eels in a different system, and we know how good he was in our Cup side. But going to first grade is a big jump there. Tanner's done that and done it with ease there, and that's due to the system that we put into place. Tanner's been incredible as well, and I'm going to give all the credit to Tanner and his hard work and also buying in and staying with us as well and trusting in us to build him into a halfback to what he is. But, you know, the system is really the big thing here, and what Webby's kind of put into place is a very, like, this is all ticks in his areas. I hope people don't, you know, shy away from that in any sort of way. Like, you know, this is, what do we call it account before? We had Shawnee, we had Tamade, we had Luke Metcalf, and now we have Tanah Boyd. That's 4 halfbacks there that are playing up top competition, you know, at the top of the heap of halfbacks. And lastly, on the point too, when we saw, you know, we see systematically like the Dogs with Toby Sexton at 7 and see how good he's been playing this year. We've seen, you know, the Penrith Panthers with Nathan Cleary and see what Nathan Cleary, when he goes to New South Wales, like, you know, in State of Origin, there is a jump up there, and there's a point where he's got to do more individual type of plays in State of Origin, to where, like, with the Panthers, he can back into a system and play his style of football. It kind of builds around Nathan Cleary. I think that's what the Blues got to try and figure out with Nathan Cleary going into New South Wales. But, you know, that's a different day. But you know what I mean?
Why are you going to bring that up, man?
This is the difference, bro, of what the Titans couldn't get the best out of Tanah Boyd, but the Warriors are able to get the best out of Tanah Boyd at the moment.
Exactly.
It's a builder
I totally
around
get
him.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good point.